Have you ever heard of Pyrrho of Elis? A man who questioned the very nature of reality and knowledge itself. In the annals of classical Greece, nestled between the tales of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, is the often overlooked figure of Pyrrho of Elis. Born around 360 years before the Common Era in the city of Elis, Pyrrho's early life was much like any other Greek of his time. Yet his destiny was anything but ordinary. As a young man, Pyrrho was drawn into the whirlwind of Alexander the Great's conquests. He found himself in the ranks of the great conqueror's army, not as a soldier, but as a philosopher. This journey took him far from his Grecian homeland, all the way to the exotic lands of India, a place where few Greeks had ever ventured. In India, Pyrrho was exposed to a radically different world, a world that was steeped in a philosophy that was alien and fascinating to his Hellenic sensibilities. The philosophical traditions of the East, with their focus on skepticism, introspection, and the nature of reality, deeply influenced Pyrrho. They led him to question the very foundations of knowledge and reality that his fellow Greeks took for granted. Upon his return to Greece, Pyrrho began to develop and articulate his philosophical ideas that would later be known as Pyrrhonian skepticism. This philosophy questioned the very nature of reality and whether we can truly know anything at all. It challenged the established norms of knowledge and truth and invited people to question their perceptions of the world. But who really was Pyrrho, and why does his philosophy matter to us today? To answer this, we must delve deeper into his life, his journey, and the philosophy that he left behind. So let us embark on this journey of discovery as we unravel the enigma of Pyrrho of Elis. Upon his return from India, Pyrrho introduced a school of thought that would challenge the very foundations of knowledge, Pyrrhonian skepticism. At the heart of Pyrrhonian skepticism lies a profound and unsettling question: can we truly know anything? This is a philosophy that pushes the boundaries of human understanding, making us question the very nature of knowledge itself. It's a philosophy that insists on the belief that one cannot, and indeed, should not assert anything with absolute certainty. The principles of Pyrrhonian skepticism are not just about doubting everything, but rather about suspending judgment. This is where the concept of epoche comes into play. Epoche is a Greek term that means suspension, and in the context of Pyrrho's philosophy, it refers to the suspension of judgment. It's about stepping back from our preconceived notions and biases and seeing things as they are, not as we believe or want them to be. But Pyrrho didn't stop there. He went a step further and proposed that this suspension of judgment could lead to ataraxia, another Greek term meaning tranquility or peace of mind. According to Pyrrho, by suspending judgment, we could escape the turmoil of dogmatic beliefs and opinions and find peace in the acceptance of our own ignorance. This is a philosophy that does not seek to provide answers, but rather to provoke thought. It's a philosophy that encourages us not to cling to our beliefs, but to question them, to challenge them, and ultimately to let them go. It's a philosophy that asks us to embrace uncertainty, to find comfort in the unknown, and to accept that there are limits to what we can know and understand. But what does this mean for us? How can we apply these principles in our own lives? Can we find peace in the acceptance of our own ignorance? And more importantly, can we live in a state of ataraxia, finding tranquility in the suspension of judgment? So if we suspend judgment, can we find tranquility in the unknown? Pyrrho's philosophy was so radical, it sent ripples through the intellectual community of ancient Greece. Imagine a world where knowledge was a given, where truth was unassailable. Then, along comes Pyrrho, who dared to question everything, to believe in nothing, and to assert that certainty was an illusion. To say that his ideas caused a stir would be an understatement. In his time, Pyrrho was both lauded and criticized. His skeptics viewed his philosophy as an affront to the very essence of intellectual pursuit. They argued, how can one seek knowledge if they believe it's unattainable? But Pyrrho's defenders saw his ideas as liberating. They argued that by accepting the limits of our understanding, we free ourselves from the shackles of dogma and open our minds to endless possibilities. Pyrrho wasn't simply a philosopher, he was a catalyst for change. His ideas laid the groundwork for what would eventually become known as Pyrrhonian skepticism, a school of thought that championed the suspension of judgment and the pursuit of mental tranquility. Later philosophers, like Sextus Empiricus, would expand upon Pyrrho's ideas, spreading them far and wide throughout the Hellenistic world. And the ripples didn't stop there. Pyrrho's influence can be seen in the works of many later philosophers. His skepticism was a precursor to the Enlightenment's emphasis on rational inquiry. Even Descartes' famous dictum, "I think, therefore I am," can be seen as a response to Pyrrho's radical doubt. But perhaps the most striking testament to Pyrrho's impact is the enduring relevance of his philosophy. Even today, we find ourselves grappling with the same questions that he posed over 2,000 years ago. What can we truly know? What are the limits of human understanding? His philosophy invites us to confront these questions, to challenge our assumptions, and to recognize the inherent uncertainty of our world. Is it possible that Pyrrho's philosophy still influences our understanding of the world today? Given the lasting impact and enduring relevance of his ideas, the answer, it seems, is a resounding yes. Fast forward to the 21st century. Do Pyrrho's ideas still hold relevance? Indeed, they do. Pyrrho's philosophy, while born over 2 millennia ago, still resonates with many modern philosophical debates. His radical skepticism, the belief that we can't truly know anything, is a concept that continues to challenge the foundations of human knowledge and understanding. Let's consider the realm of science, which prides itself on the pursuit of objective truth. Yet even here, Pyrrho's skepticism finds a place. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics, for instance, posits that we can never simultaneously know both the position and velocity of a particle. The more we know about one, the less we know about the other. Doesn't this echo Pyrrho's assertion that our knowledge is always incomplete, always uncertain? Then, there's the philosophical debate on reality. Is what we perceive truly reality, or just our interpretation of it? Pyrrho would argue the latter. Today, this is mirrored in debates about the nature of consciousness and the simulation theory, which posits that our reality might just be a sophisticated simulation. Pyrrho's philosophy also influences modern thinkers. His ideas on achieving tranquility through suspending judgment, for example, can be seen in the mindfulness movement. The practice of mindfulness encourages us to let go of our preconceptions and judgments to experience the world as it is. Isn't this a modern echo of Pyrrho's path to tranquility? Moreover, in an era of fake news and information overload, Pyrrho's skepticism is more relevant than ever. It encourages us to question, to doubt, to not accept things at face value. It urges us to acknowledge the limits of our knowledge and understanding, to be comfortable with uncertainty. So in a world full of information, can Pyrrho's philosophy guide us to a more tranquil life? Perhaps, by inviting us to question, to suspend judgment, and to embrace uncertainty, Pyrrho's philosophy might just be the antidote to the noise and confusion of our modern world. As we delve deeper into Pyrrho's philosophy, we find ourselves grappling with the same questions that he did. The enigmatic Pyrrho of Elis, a man whose life and teachings continue to intrigue us millennia after his time. In our exploration, we have seen the birth and development of Pyrrhonian skepticism, a philosophy that dared to question the very nature of our knowledge, a philosophy that, rather than providing answers, encouraged its followers to embrace the uncertainty of human understanding. Pyrrho's impact on the world of philosophy is undeniable. His teachings have influenced countless thinkers, from his contemporaries in ancient Greece to the philosophers of the modern world. His philosophy is not merely a historical curiosity, but a living, breathing part of our intellectual heritage. It continues to shape our understanding of the world and our place in it. In the realm of Pyrrho's philosophy, we find ourselves standing at the edge of the known and the unknown. We are urged to question the limits of our knowledge, to challenge our assumptions, and to embrace the uncertainty that comes with our quest for understanding. This is a journey not for the faint of heart, but for those who dare to question, to ponder, and to seek. Yet Pyrrho's philosophy also offers a path to tranquility. In the face of uncertainty and the limits of human knowledge, Pyrrho teaches us to find peace, not in certainty, but in the acceptance of our own ignorance. This is not a call to abandon our quest for knowledge, but rather a reminder to approach it with humility and openness. The enduring enigma of Pyrrho is not merely about the man or his philosophy. It is about the questions that he posed, questions that continue to echo in the corridors of our minds, questions about the nature of knowledge, the limits of understanding, and the quest for tranquility in the face of uncertainty. In the end, Pyrrho leaves us with a profound question. Can we ever truly know anything? And perhaps more importantly, can we find peace in not knowing?